name and where she would know who you were the next time. But
Yep.
she met every new person that come into the church.
That's called old school greeting, and we need to bring it back. Because let me tell you, how I got into greeting is I was at my church, and I saw this old dude in the front of the church greeting, and his name was Furman Brannon. I said, Furman, you're on the greeting committee? Because, Baptist, right? You're on the committee? And he said, no. And I said, well, how are you allowed to greet? I didn't ask permission. He said, well, there's a holy huddle in the vestibule, a bunch of old deacon men sitting around talking to each other. He says, you can't even get in because they're all like in a huddle, right? He says, so I came out here and I'm greeting and I'm waiting for somebody to tell me I can't do it, but I'm going to keep doing it. I said, well, can I greet with you? And he says, yeah, you get the young ones and the women, I'll get the old ones and the men. Because, you got to be appropriate, right? You got to make sure who you're hugging, And so what I noticed about Furman, and I learned from her, we greeted for 7 years together. And we developed the entire greeter ministry program, First Impression Ministry. What was neat is Furman did that with the notes. So you would come in, and although there might be 20 more people behind you that are coming in, he made you feel special. And so he would go, okay, guy got a green shirt, is upset because nobody had sports on his wrist. Just kidding. There's two over there. But I might say green shirt, kind of purple blue hat, and he'd write it down on a little piece of paper and stuck in his pocket. And then he would walk you, if you had kids, he'd walk you to the nursery, he'd walk you to singles, he'd walk you to, mixed class, whatever. If you wanted to be walked, he'd walk you. And he'd ask open-ended questions. And then when you got ready to leave, because you have to also exit greet, which y'all don't do that yet, but we're gonna teach you how to exit greet. It's the same as enter greet. When you say good morning, you say have a great day. It's just real simple. But he would say, well, how did you think? Is it Hans? Hans, what did you think about your Sunday school? What did you think about the service? And so he's written that down, and you don't even know he's done it. It's like his cheat notes. Because he can't remember everybody's name. He can't remember everything that he asked about them. And that taught me so much. And he would go sit with people in the pew. Because he said, people don't know how to greet in the pew. We're all greeters. Everyone in this room is a greeter, whether you're on a list or not. If you're sitting beside somebody, introduce yourself. If it's their first time, second time, build a relationship with them, because that's what it's about. It's not about just, well, how you doing? Hope you enjoy it. Right? It's like, well, tell me your story. How did you get here? What brought you to the area? I met a couple. Jay was sponsored a couple people from Dallas, and I was just saying, we were talking about how'd you end up here? Well, I think Pam, you asked me the same thing, right?